Well, tonight's speakers at the convention will include Democratic luminaries and some very unexpected voices on the stage, some Republicans. John Giles, mayor of Mesa, Arizona, is set to speak, and Stephanie Grisham, former White House press secretary in the Trump administration, spoke earlier. Former White House press secretary, as we mentioned, she will be speaking on the stage a little bit later in the night. Meanwhile, the man Harris will be up against, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump, has also been speaking, and we, I think, are looking at some of the words that he's been saying as well. But we have a soundbite, I think, from Stephanie Grisham that she was speaking a little bit earlier. Let's listen.
I wasn't just a Trump supporter. I was a true believer. I was one of his closest advisors. The Trump family became my family. I spent Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's all at Mar-a-Lago. I saw him when the cameras were off. Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers. On a hospital visit one time when people were dying in the ICU, he was mad that the cameras were not watching him. He has no empathy, no morals, and no fidelity to the truth. He used to tell me, "It doesn't matter what you say, Stephanie. Say it enough and people will believe you." But it does matter. What you says matter, and what you don't say matters. On January 6th, I asked Melania if we could at least tweet that while peaceful protest is the right of every American, there's no place for lawlessness or violence. She replied with one word: no. I became the first senior staffer to resign that day. I couldn't be part of the insanity any longer. When I was press secretary, I got skewered for never holding a White House briefing. It's because, unlike my boss, I never wanted to stand at that podium and lie. Now here I am, behind a podium, advocating for a Democrat. And that's because I love my country more than my party. Kamala Harris tells the truth. She respects the American people, and she has my vote.
All right, that was Stephanie Grisham, as we mentioned, speaking a little bit earlier on the convention stage behind me. As the roll call continues, you hear some of the clapping and cheering there as they go state to state. As we just mentioned, the man Kamala Harris will be up against, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. He's been holding his own speaking engagement in the state of Michigan, a battleground state. The former U.S. president is just outside Detroit, making it his 6th visit to the battleground state this year. Speaking at a local sheriff's office, Mr. Trump touched on the issue of crime in America and issued a response to some of what was being said at this week's convention.
Democrats are holding their convention in Chicago in order to showcase it. And yet, as you know, on 4th of July weekend, 117 people were shot. Of the 117, 17 were killed. This is 4th of July weekend, and 40 were shot last weekend. I don't know how many were killed, but assume a lot. They lied last night about things that nobody's ever seen. They lied about soldiers at a gravesite. They lied about Charlottesville. They lied about inflation. The inflation's been absolutely horrible, absolutely horrible. And everyone knows that we had virtually no inflation. They had 9%, but that wasn't including some of the things that went up more than anything else. They gave themselves a pass. But mothers will no longer be losing their children because of weak liberal policies and politicians that have given up on securing a crime-free America. We want a crime-free America. We're going to stop violent crime in the United States.